Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 4.
Here comes a blast of winter for Halloween weekend. We'll track the potential for light accumulating snows in just a moment.
More human remains are found near a busy Lexington road. We're live from the scene with what investigators are doing to try to figure out who the person was. And a crash kills a Central Kentucky mother headed to her child's school for a field trip. WKYT News at 4 starts now. Good afternoon, I'm Jennifer Palumbo. What a change from earlier this week. Monday, we had highs around 80. Today, temperatures are struggling to get into the 50s. You're looking at our Skycam in downtown Lexington, and it could be a different scene this time tomorrow. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey has a first look at the forecast. And Chris, temperatures aren't the only change you're tracking.
Yeah, we're going to track the first flakes of the season into most of central and eastern Kentucky. About this time tomorrow, that Arctic front is passing just to our east and southeast, and those temperatures will be crashing, leading to the potential for some snows tomorrow evening. Right now, it looks gorgeous out there. Temperatures, as you mentioned, have been struggling to get into the low 50s. We started out the day with some overcast conditions, frosty cold before the clouds got into town this morning. 52 into Richmond, 53 into Frankfort. Live First Alert Defender, nothing that is going on as of now, but let's focus on a couple of systems to our west. One that has a little shower action with it will scoot in here early tomorrow, but by the second half of tomorrow, here is the main player. That is an out-and-out Arctic cold front that is diving toward the Bluegrass State, and that storm system is going to take a track that will be right on top of the region. Moral of the story, it's going to bring Old Man Winter early this year to town into central and eastern Kentucky, as rain will likely change over to a little snow before Halloween is through, and that's followed by the blast of big-time air. Jennifer, when I come back in a minute, we're going to talk about the temperatures. I'm going to give the first call for snowfall map, and we will also show you a brand new issued winter weather advisory for parts of the area. More on that in a bit.
Thank you, Chris. We're learning more this afternoon about human remains found in a Lexington field. The remains were found last night near Citation Boulevard between Newtown Pike and Georgetown Road. Fayette County Coroner Gary Ginn says more remains were found this morning not far from there. WKYT's Jordan Valines is there with the latest. It's our top story at 4.
Jennifer, that's right. Investigators cleared the scene here around 2 o'clock this afternoon, but at this time, there are still many questions as to who this person was and exactly how their body got here. Now, the coroner, along with his deputies and the Lexington Forensic Division, returned to the death scene around 8 this morning to collect more evidence in the light of day. The coroner believes that the body is a man's and that his body has been here for at least 6 to 9 months. A team of investigators sifted through the ground beneath the individual in hopes of finding a ring, possibly a watch, but they came up empty-handed. Now, in order to figure out the identity of this person, the coroner says that they'll be checking missing persons reports and checking with nearby Eastern State Hospital to see if there were any patients who have gone missing.
It will be very difficult to identify this individual because unless there are x-rays of him, we have to have an idea of who we might think that this person possibly is in order to get those x-rays.
And at this time, there is no indication as to how this person died. Live in Lexington, Jordan Valines, WKYT.
The skeletal remains will now be transferred to the state medical examiner's office in Frankfort. A mother on her way to her child's school for a field trip this morning was killed in a crash. It happened around 8 o'clock on U.S. Highway 150 and 643 in Lincoln County. Police say 34-year-old Jessica Mobberly of Crab Orchard was driving to the school when her pickup truck collided with a tractor trailer. We're told the driver of the tractor trailer was not injured. We'll have reaction from Lincoln County ahead on WKYT News at 5. A third suspect in Lexington's latest murder is behind bars this afternoon. Police arrested Savon Thompson yesterday for complicity to commit murder. He's charged in the shooting death of Jeffrey Adams on McCullough Drive earlier this month. Nathan Miller and a juvenile whose name has not been released are also charged with complicity in the case. We're working on a number of other stories for WKYT News starting at 4:30. Amber Philpott joins us from the newsroom with a look at some of the news in progress. Good afternoon, Amber.
Hello, Jennifer. A 6-month drug investigation came to a close today, ending with 12 drug trafficking arrests. Investigators in Nicholas County tell us the people who were caught in the drug sting were trafficking marijuana and prescription pills like oxycodone. The Sheriff's Department and Carlisle Police began looking for 14 suspected drug dealers at 5 this morning, many of them repeat offenders. Coming up on WKYT News at 4:30, we are talking with officers who tell us why repeat offenders are not only costing taxpayers money, but they're also costing law enforcement time and resources. We are tracking the latest in a high-profile Lexington murder case. In 2011, Steve Nunn pled guilty to killing Amanda Ross, his former fiancée. Well, today, he's trying to get that plea thrown out, saying his attorney at the time gave him bad advice. He has pled guilty to Ross's murder, and he was also found responsible for a death in a wrongful death lawsuit. Coming up on WKYT News at 5, we'll have more on what was decided today during court. And in Clay County, deputies are still searching for a suspect in a school bus hit and run. Investigators say Gary Daniels hit a school bus in Perry County Wednesday morning. Authorities tracked Daniels to the Oneida area of Clay County. We're told he has a long criminal history and may be dangerous. Police in Clay County are also searching for another man who led police in a high-speed chase and then ran off into the woods. We're going to have more on that update coming up for you at 5:30 on WKYT. That is a look at just some of the news that's in progress. Jennifer, back to you.
Thanks, Amber. Now to stories making headlines across the nation at 4. Investigators say the search for additional victims of a plane crash at the airport in Wichita, Kansas will continue when the building hit by the plane is safe enough for crews to enter. Officials and witnesses say the small plane lost power after takeoff and crashed into an airport building while trying to return. At least 4 people are dead, 5 others hurt. 4 more people are unaccounted for.
Our focus right now is to identify who was in the building and assess any injuries that may have occurred to people involved.
The building is operated by Flight Safety International, which uses the facility to train pilots to fly planes. The first round of clinical trials for an Ebola vaccine are happening now. Scientists are testing it on volunteers, hoping it will help them in the battle against the virus. Polo Sandoval reports on the global efforts to fight Ebola and another fight brewing close to home.
The debate over a mix of Ebola quarantine guidelines rages on, reignited in part by a bike ride. Nurse Casey Hickox refuses to comply with a request from the state of Maine to stay home for 21 days. She treated Ebola patients in West Africa, but twice tested negative for the virus.
We're still waiting to hear from the state of Maine to see what they want to do. I hope that we can continue negotiations and work this out amicably.
But the governor of Maine is responding, saying those negotiations have failed.
I don't want her within 3 feet of anybody. Let's put it this way. I am going to use the legal provisions to the fullest extent that the law allows me.
Meanwhile, for those fighting the disease, a possible new weapon is being tested in Switzerland. The World Health Organization reports 120 volunteers are being injected with a potential vaccine. It's the largest round of clinical testing since the current outbreak started in West Africa, in addition to testing being done in the U.S.
We're very rapidly on a fast track testing a vaccine. We started it in what's called phase 1 in Bethesda here, and also in other places in Maryland where you give it to 20 or so people, see if it's safe.
Dr. Anthony Fauci from the National Institutes of Health hoping the outbreak is contained before a vaccine is needed. The numbers from the WHO show over 13,000 confirmed Ebola cases worldwide, all but 27 in West Africa. In Washington, I'm Polo Sandoval reporting.
While some retailers are making headlines by opening for Black Friday early, others are making news by not opening at all. And the Federal Reserve makes a decision about whether to end its 6-year effort to boost the economy, what it decided, and how Wall Street reacted. Next on WKYT News at 4.
Follow WKYT online at WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
On Wall Street, the Dow is back above 17,000 with strong gains today. The Dow jumped 221 points to close at 17,195. The Nasdaq added 17 and the S&P picked up 12. The gains come as the Federal Reserve announces it will stop its long-running bond purchase program tomorrow. The Fed will also keep short-term interest rates near zero for a considerable time. The Fed made the announcement after its highly anticipated two-day meeting in Washington. Radio Shack has hired a former government advisor to help fix its money problems. The struggling consumer electronics retailer announced Harry J. Wilson will serve as Chief Revitalization Officer. Last month, Radio Shack said it might need to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection as it struggles to compete with online retailers. Some retailers are just saying no to starting Black Friday early. GameStop and Nordstrom announced they will not be open on Thanksgiving. They're following the lead of Costco, which said its stores will be closed to give employees time with their families. The trend toward early Black Friday sales reached a fever pitch last year, with Kmart opening at 6 a.m. on Thanksgiving. Both Macy's and Walmart started their Thanksgiving sales at 6 p.m. Microsoft has unveiled its first fitness band. It can track your heart rate, steps, calories burned, and sleep quality. You can also get email previews and calendar alerts. The band is now available for $199.
Good afternoon, guys. We're getting a little air here at Get Air. What'd you say, Harrison?
I'm ready.
You're ready. You're ready to do a little jumping and have a little fun, aren't you, Batman? All kinds of little characters and creatures here preparing for a Halloween party. And you're saving the fun for Saturday night, right, Nancy?
Yes, that's right. Saturday night, 9 to midnight, we have our teen night costume party, Halloween costume party. And if you come in costume, you get $5 off. So that's 3 hours for $20.
And you get to see the Get Air Black-like witch that will be here, and for good reason. You guys have a fun weekend with black lights, right?
Yes, I flew in on my broom, especially to tell you that. We're actually going to be closed at 5 o'clock on Halloween night, but we're going to extend Halloween to Saturday night. So Saturday night, starting at 9 o'clock, we're going to have black lights. So come in costume, and if you wear white or bright colors, you're going to pop a little bit more. Whoops!
They're bouncing us around over here. I guess that's the name of the game, isn't it?
Yes, they are. And we are also gearing up to put in a ninja course. So by Halloween, we will have our first ninja feature. So just like you see on TV, we're going to have some ninja features. It's going to be really, really cool.
Okay, so wear your costumes, $20 for 3 hours of jumping, and they're saving the fun for Saturday night so the kiddos can go trick-or-treat on Friday night. So come and get some air and have a very happy Halloween. Back to you guys.
I'm just trying to keep up with it.
I know. What a great idea.
It really is. And it's good that I guess it's Saturday night, is that what you said? Which is good. The weather will be a little better than what we have tomorrow night.
Those kids are going to need to be covered up in winter coats tomorrow night.
The air tomorrow night is going to be cold with some flakes.
That's right. Well, government safety regulators are playing hardball with an automotive supplier. What they're telling Takata it has to do about a possible deadly defect in some of the company's airbags. And Halloween isn't just big business for people. How pet costumes are a $1 billion a year industry. Coming up on WKYT News at 4. It's time for Better Living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. The federal government is telling airbag maker Takata to speed up making replacement parts. The airbags are linked to 4 deaths and sparked a recall of more than 8 million vehicles here in the U.S. The government also wants Takata to do more testing to find the cause of the problem. Norway, Sweden, and Finland have recalled Fireball whiskey, the popular cinnamon-flavored liquor, because it has too much of an ingredient used in antifreeze. A batch of the U.S. recipe with higher levels of propylene glycol was shipped to Europe, and it doesn't meet regulations there. No recalls are expected here in the U.S. One of the fastest growing sectors of Halloween spending is costumes for pets. And manufacturers are happy to indulge the whims of pet owners with more creative outfits. We have some tips to keep Fido and Fluffy happy and safe.
Playing dress up means serious business, with Americans expected to spend $2.8 billion on Halloween costumes this year. But it's not just kids' outfits like the Ninja Turtles and Frozen flying off shelves at this Walmart store in Chantilly, Virginia.
We've seen a tremendous growth in the pet category. Over the last few years, customers are getting more engaged and involved with their pets in terms of holidays, but specifically the Halloween holiday.
From bananas to superheroes, the business of decking out Fluffy and Fido is booming. This year, Americans will spend $350 million on pet costumes, up almost 60% since the first time the National Retail Federation started tallying in 2010. The most popular outfits this year, a pumpkin, a hot dog, and a devil. The ASPCA offers some Halloween reminders for the 23 million pet owners expected to dress up their pets. First, don't put a pet in a costume unless you know they'll be comfortable wearing it. Make sure the costume is safe without constricting movement or the ability to bark, breathe, or meow. Try those costumes on for a trial run before the big night, and if pets show signs of allergies, discomfort, or distress, reconsider the plan to dress them up. And be sure to keep human Halloween treats away from pets. Candy, especially chocolate, pumpkins, and decorative corn, can be dangerous. For Consumer Watch, I'm Karen Kafa.